everybody, my name is Jenny and you have found my channel Senior Perspective. We are going to talk today a little bit about Christine's perspective on how Robyn views the family is very different from how she views the family. Let's go. Alrighty, this all comes from the podcast The Juicy Scoop that Christine recently went on. And I'm pulling out little nuggets of information like the stuff that I found that was really interesting and doing small videos on it, topic by topic. And today we're going to talk about how Christine refers to Robyn's perspective of family versus her perspective of family in a polygamous family.
Because you are right. It is team player more than anything. That's why leaving was super difficult too, because my whole identity wasn't just a wife. If anything, to me, wife was secondary. First of all, I was a mom to all of these kids. I was a mom to 18 kids, and everything that I did involved all of the kids and the whole family. And so family parties, family get-togethers, when my friends came over, everything that I did was all about everybody.
This all started with Christine talking about how Robyn, one day shortly in their marriage, was referring to her and Kody as a couple in a conversation they were having. And Christine was confused by it. She's like, what couple? And she's like, Kody and I as a couple. And Christine's like, oh, well, we don't really use that term in a polygamy situation. And she's like, well, yeah. She was like, well, I'm not just saying we're not the only couple. Like, you and Kody are a couple, and Mary and Kody are a couple. And Christine said, no, we're not. We don't see it that way at all. We see us all as one family.
And I didn't understand, like, I remember one point when Robyn first came into the family, she started talking about, she goes, because you guys are a couple and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what do you mean a couple? And she goes, well, you guys are all couples. And I said, no, we're not couples. And she goes, well, no, Kody and I, because she was saying that her and Kody were a couple and stuff. I'm like, there's no couples in our family. I don't know what you mean. And she goes, well, you and Kody are a couple. I'm like, no, we're not. We're not a couple. That's not what it is. We're a family. And so the whole couple mentality was something I didn't even begin to understand, didn't even grasp it, because it was so far out of my thinking, because it really was about making sure that everybody's needs were met. And the whole family had this amazing experience, and everything that I could do to make sure that everybody was happy and had fun.
We don't see individual couples coming together. We see one whole family working together. So this was new for Robyn. Not a surprise. Robyn, not really from a polygamous background. She argues that she is, but we can argue that she isn't.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
Christine, who has been raised in a polygamous background, would know a little bit more about the nuances and the terminology that goes along with it. Christine points out at this point that the way she saw her relationship with Kody not only wasn't a couple, but she saw her role as mom to the 13 kids as higher and more significant and important than her role as wife to Kody. And you can see that in the way that she was the one that nurtured and cared for and schooled for many years all of the children. You can see that now, how all the children continue to gravitate back to her. And can I just say, that's going to be the next t-shirt. Can I just say, I didn't realize till I started editing these videos that I say that all the time. My apologies. But can I just say that I am touched at how not threatened Janelle is by Christine. I could see so many moms, probably even myself, if I'm being honest, being a little threatened by my kids being so emotionally connected to another mom. Christine spent so many hours with all of the kids and so many years with all of the kids that she was a definite mother figure to them. And Janelle 100% embraces it and loves that Christine has that love for her kids and that her kids have that love for Christine. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I throw darts at polygamy a lot because I see a lot of the negative side of it. But I have to say that Christine, Janelle, and Mary got together and did it right when it came to delegating Christine as the nurturer caregiver for all the kids. And I have to say, the OG 13 kids, they all turned out pretty great. You don't see them going on drinking binges. You don't see them taking drugs. You don't see them being promiscuous. These are kids that are all still close to each other, that love family, that are getting themselves educations. They're great kids, all of them. And I'm sure Robyn's older 3 and probably younger 2 eventually will be the same way.
Possibly.
I don't have as much information on them. I don't know what's happening. I know Dayton is being very successful and getting himself a second master's degree right now, I think. I don't know. But he indeed is pursuing his education. And I know Aurora's in college as well. I mean, she chose a major that might be hard to find a job. So I don't know if that's the smartest thing. But I mean, if it's her passion, then she's in the right field. Astronomy? How many astronomers are there? I don't know. I mean, maybe a lot. I don't know. I picked a pretty generic field of speech-language pathology where there's a million of us. My husband's a school teacher, and there's a million of those. So my daughter's going to become a veterinarian. There's a million of those. My other daughter's in marketing. There's a million of those. So my son is going into data analytics and computer science. A million of those jobs. So astronomy seems odd to me. So going into astronomy is like your kid coming and saying, I'm going to be a singer-songwriter in Nashville. Like, oh, okay. Only a few of them are very successful and can make a living at it, but I hope you're one of them. From my narrow perspective, maybe it's a booming career that I know nothing about.
I don't think so.
Christine went on to say that for the first 15 years of her marriage, Kody's time was very equally spent. But there were circumstances and times when he needed to be with one wife more than another. They had more emotional needs during that time, a death or whatever. They may have just had a baby and they need somebody there more to kind of help out because of the other kids and because of the demands of a newborn baby. Whatever it may be, she said there were times that the schedule got messed up and he had to spend more time somewhere else, and she never had a problem with it. She was always okay with it. And the reason why she was always okay with it was because her needs were getting met.
So when you did the schedule and you had your 1 or 2 nights with Kody, would you look forward to it? Would you dread it? When did you stop caring about it? Like, I kind of wonder, because I don't really care. I'm happy to have the time alone. I wonder if at a certain point, because that was always the case, you really had no jealousy and started to care less and less and less.
So it's like reverse. So when I was first married, I'd say for the first 15 years, I didn't really care. My needs were being met. He was around a lot of the time. He was more fair with his time, and I didn't really care. And when he wasn't around, I'd be like, oh man, I can watch whatever shows I want. And I loved it when he wasn't around. But then when he was around, I loved that too.
Well said, right? If your needs are getting met, you're more than happy to tell him, go do what you need to do. I'm going to be okay. I'm still here because you're not lacking for something. But then Robyn came and everything changed. According to Christine. According to the viewer's eyes. We saw it play out on the show.
And then Robyn came into the family and everything just became all about Robyn. And I really thought that would decrease.
This was my favorite part of the interview. So Christine is explaining that Robyn comes into the family. Okay, everything is changing now, right? Everything changes. He's spending all this time at Robyn's house, but initially she didn't really pitch a fit or make a fuss or anything about it because she just saw it as the same as having a newborn baby in the family. It's the same thing as having a newborn to care for. I don't know if she said it exactly like that. My interpretation of what she said made me laugh out loud when I watched it, but I know it wasn't her intent.
It's of course, at first he's going to go over at her house more. I remember what it was like to have newborn babies. When you have a baby, that baby takes up all of your time. And you spend all your time with that baby, and the other kids kind of get neglected a bit. And you don't mean to, and you do everything that you can to make sure that they aren't neglected, but it's just going to happen. So I just figured it was like that a little bit, but that didn't even out.
I know she didn't mean to call Robyn a baby, but really, let's think about it. When you have to spend more time at one house because there's a newborn baby, it's because babies are the most selfish thing on earth. They are inherently selfish. They can do nothing for themselves. They need somebody to help them do everything. They can't really express themselves that well, so in order to communicate, they just cry. They cry all the time. No matter what their need is, it comes out as tears and crying because they don't know anything else. It's a reflex. Do we see the similarities? Somebody very needy. Somebody needs to be held all the time. Somebody needs to be coddled. Somebody cries all the time and you have to take care of them. Oh, baby Robyn. Priceless. I love it.
You are acting like a baby.
Christine clarified that as time went on, nothing changed. He kept spending all this time at Robyn's house. And they still technically had their schedule, but now instead of coming over for the day, he was showing up on her day every fourth day at 6 o'clock in the evening, eating her dinner, maybe playing with the kids for an hour, and going to bed. And that's it. And then he left first thing in the morning and went back to Robyn's house. Spent the whole day there, and at 6 o'clock at night would go to the next mom's house.
And he would come over in the evenings, like he's always adamant. He always says, I was very fair with my schedule. He was over at my house in the beginning, 1 out of every 4 nights. And then when he'd stopped going to Mary's house, it was 1 of every 3 nights. Yes, he was there in the nights. Yes, for sure. So after 6 o'clock, he would walk right in. It's just that we saw his car parked over at Robyn's house. So we knew he was in the cul-de-sac, and I didn't understand why he couldn't spend, anyway, blah, blah, whole big thing. But I started to like it less and less and become frustrated. And then when we moved to, it's like through the cul-de-sac, when we lived in the cul-de-sac, he would come over, and sometimes I would be so mad because it was a Saturday. So why couldn't he come over during the day on Saturday? I knew he wasn't working, but he still would only appear at 6 o'clock at night. So it's like, okay, whatever.
Christine said what was most hurtful about it is that when her day fell on a Saturday, because she would excuse the weekdays as, well, he has to work. All right, Robyn made an office in her house. How clever of her. I wonder whose idea that was anyway. Nevertheless, she had an office for Kody in her house, so that's where he had to go to do his work. I don't think he had 40 hours worth of work to do a week. I really don't. I don't know if he was already at that point starting to get into the gun stuff, if he had completely left advertising when he left Lehigh or not. I don't know the transition, how one began and the other one stopped. I'm not sure he even had a job at that time. And we're going to talk about that in another video, actually. Christine talks about what Kody does all day. We get the answer. Coming soon. Teaser! Okay, so Christine says when he's gone, they all see his car over at Robyn's house. They know he's at Robyn's house the entire time. He hasn't gone off and gone anywhere else.
So once you realize that you don't really matter, then his time became something that was really frustrating to me.
Yet just recently we heard Christine admit that she could never trust Robyn because in the family counseling that they did there with Nancy, one thing that kept coming up from all the wives is, where's Kody? He's not at my house on the day he's even supposed to be at my house. He doesn't come to the evening. Where is he all day? And that Robyn also said, I don't know. I don't know where he is either.
I have no idea.
Liar! And that was the point where Christine knew, I can't trust this woman. She is not being straight with me. I mean, we knew that you couldn't trust her since before they were even married. She kissed Kody, and who knows if she did more.
Rob and I fell in love in this car.
I got my answer about Kody and the white sports car, too. There's a lot of fun stuff that happened in that white sports car.
But we just know, because it's on camera, that she kissed Kody before they were married, which is breaking a covenant because he's a married man. We also know that she was sneaky and keeping secrets behind the sister wives and TLC's back by going off and doing the whole wedding dress shopping.
I picked the dress.
You're the groom. Did you really?
I picked the dress.
No, we didn't.
And we went to Lisa's bridal, and Robyn and I went and looked at dresses, and she picked one out, and I was like, holy cow, it's like I'd seen it in my dreams, you know?
Who knows what other adventures happened we don't know about. And she specifically said to Kody, I told him not to tell you about it, which means she knew it would be hurtful. And she did it anyway.
It wasn't funny. You look like an idiot. Sorry.
It wasn't funny to me either. It was actually something that I had to ask him, you know, not to share with anybody. For the sake of sort of protecting both experiences, I didn't feel it was necessary for you guys to know that.
Oh, I could go on all day about that story. All right, that's all I have for this topic here today. It was a good one. Next one is good too. The next one is going to be when Christine first realized she was done with Kody. Tune in next time. Have a great day. Bye.
No, I have no idea. No, I have no idea. No, I have no idea.